Hello, this is Yonah Gross from Wynwood, Pennsylvania. Sometimes, as Rabbanim, we have initiatives to do, positions to take, people to approach, and speaking for myself, sometimes there is a hesitancy and anxiety from getting them started, from doing and approaching that person, beginning that project. So, at the beginning of this week's Parsha, Aaron knows that he has korbanos that he needs to bring, and yet Rashi tells us that was being held back from doing so. Shaharon bosh v'yarei lageshes, that he was bosh, he was embarrassed and afraid to come forth. So Amar lo Moshe comes to him and says, Lama atavosh, why are you embarrassed? Lekach nivcharta, for this reason you are chosen. So what is the nature of this busha, of this quote embarrassment that Aaron felt? So Rav Henoch Leibowitz, the Rosh Yeshiva from Chafetz Chaim, so he shares that there's two forms of busha that could be meant by that term, and while at first glance they may seem to be very similar, he suggests that they're very far apart. The first type is that a person says that they're just embarrassed. They're embarrassed, they're afraid, they're nervous of failing. Sometimes it's consciously or subconsciously, sometimes it is rational, sometimes it's irrational. But a person just has a fear of failure, or just of getting up and doing whatever that thing is that needs to be done. So that's one possibility. The second possibility is that a person really has a genuine feeling of humility, that they really feel that they are perhaps not worthy of doing whatever task is at hand, and yet they know that, but yet it needs to be done anyways. So Rav Henoch suggests that Aaron certainly fell under the second category, that he really genuinely was embarrassed, and he generally was humble, and he said, I'm really not worthy of doing this. He suggests the reason is that Aaron still felt an embarrassment from the role that he played in the Chet HaEgel. So that's when Moshe had to come and encourage him and say, no, Aaron, l'kach nivcharta, this is what you were chosen, despite the fact that perhaps you may have not acted properly during the scenario of the Chet HaEgel. Still, you were chosen to do this job, and therefore you have to go ahead and do this job. So with our experience as well, with the things that we need to do, so sometimes we perhaps just rationalize and say, perhaps make up a good reason why it's something that we can't do. But yet really it does fall under the first category. It really is just because one is afraid or one is nervous, whether rationally or irrationally, and that's why they don't want to do it. But Rav Henoch even adds further and says, even if you generally are in the second category, even if you genuinely feel that you are not worthy, and really comes out of a genuine sense of humility, still a Kadosh Baruch Hu comes and tells us, L'kach nivcharta. No, you're one of the chosen people. You're one of the people that have mitzvahs to do. You're one of the people that I've commanded and encouraged to go and do mitzvahs and do avodas Hashem. L'kach nivcharta is what you were chosen for, and that's perhaps that should give us encouragement to go ahead and do those things that we know that we need to do. This applies both as in the general religious realm of what mitzvahs should we do? Are we really worthy, perhaps, of doing that? And certainly as Rabbanim, when we have to be leaders, and there probably are good reasons that our own um, that we would be nervous, and perhaps we have our own insecurities. But yet we have to remember, l'kach nivcharta. No, you were chosen to be Rabbanim. You were chosen to be leaders amongst the Jewish people, and therefore you should go ahead and do this despite those fears. The Sifsei Chaim in Midos V'Avodas Hashem Chelik Beis takes this even further and suggests that, and he's speaking in the context of tefillah, of how can a person feel that they are roi, that they are fit to come in front of Kadosh Baruch Hu and offer tefillas, offer, so to speak, suggestions in order to improve ourselves. Who are we to make any suggestions to a Kadosh Baruch Hu? And he suggests that this is also part of the response that Moshe gave to Aaron. No, l'kach nivcharta, for this reason you were chosen. Because you have that status, because you realize how small we are in the face of Kadosh Baruch Hu, because you have that humility and recognize that you may have failed in the past and are yet looking to improve. For that very reason, that is why you are the one to be chosen to be the Kohen Gadol, to be the one to lead the Jewish people in these during this time, and to offer these karbanos on this day. And so too, we come to a Kodesh Baruch Hu in the context of tefillah and say, are we really the ones, do we really have what to say to a Kodesh Baruch Hu? But yet the fact that we have that level of humility, that's exactly why, that's exactly why we were chosen to be the ones to come and approach and develop that close relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu.